They say you can't have a successful business if you're not networking. How many times have you heard that and driven you nuts? Well, networking is what we're talking about on this episode of the SoloProneur SPIRIT podcast. Networking. For some, it is definitely a dirty word. Some people it comes easy. There's some people that are literally born networkers. They get to know people, immediately talk to them, like them, get them to like them, remember their names, remember their faces, remember what they do. For some people, it comes so easy. I don't like people like that. I mean, I like them. There's nothing wrong with them, but they frustrate me because I wish it was that easy. And I'm betting a lot of you feel the same way. For some small business people and other business people, networking is kind of a dirty word. It's something you know you should do, but you don't feel very comfortable doing it. You're not very good doing it, and so you try to see how far you can get without it. Well, I hate to break the news to you. I'm one that tried to get with places without it. If you're not networking, you're simply not going to be successful. So what are we talking about when we talk about networking? Well, your network is essentially people that you know. So you're reaching out and getting more people to know you, and you know more people. But it's not just simply knowing it. Yes, you can say you build a great network because you've connected with over 2,000 people on LinkedIn. But just connecting with them, I guess it's technically a network, but it's not one you can really work with. And we need to be able to work with the network, right? You see, basically, you need to find people that not only know you, but they get to like you and trust you. And they understand what it is you do. Now, out of that network, ultimately, some of them may actually need your product or service. And because they know you and like you and trust you, you hear that phrase all the time, then they're more willing to look to you when it's time to fulfill that service or product need. But it goes beyond that, because you can also look to have them, if they run across people in their network that need your product or service, you want them to like you enough and trust you enough that they're willing to say, hey, this guy over here is doing exactly what you want. Or this woman over here, she's got it done. She's got a business that's right up your alley for what you need. That's kind of the power of network, right? We get to know each other and we get to understand the people that are out there. Now, there are more benefits to it. As you get to see other people, get to know them and their businesses, you can learn from them. They can become mentors in a way. You see what they're doing, you see how they're doing it, and you can hear their stories that maybe they were struggling just like you were 6 months ago, but then something switched and boom, they've become successful. And you see that and you learn that. That's all information you never really would have found if you didn't get to know them. Sure, maybe you hit their LinkedIn page or see a YouTube video they put out that gives you some of that information. But you get better information when you actually have one-on-one conversations with them, talk with them, trade emails with them, get to know them. You learn so much more. But networking isn't just about what you get out of it, right? We're not there just to take. We're there to give as well. And that's one of the ways that you can help really build your reputation, really get people to know, like, and trust you, is by when you have conversations with them, and if they happen to mention something that they need, maybe you could give them a little bit of advice. You say, you know what? I get where you are. I was there not that long ago. You really should think about doing this. You're not trying to sell them. You're not trying to get in their face and get them to buy stuff from you. You're just simply being there and supporting them. Some of the best networks that you're going to run across are exactly that. Organizations where you really get close to the people in it. You work together. You get to know each other. You meet regularly. You help each other out when there is a need. If you get known as somebody who is out there and is, helping people and is open and listening and wants to be supportive, then your name's going to get floated out there more and more. That may not be what you intend. You truly, honestly just want to help people. But then other people are going to say, you know, this person over here, they're really helpful. They're really good people. You need to talk to them. Now, I mentioned that networking was a bad thing for me, and it really was. I went to a couple of in-person networking events. I'd take my little business cards, I'd go there, I'd talk to maybe one person, and then I would kind of play wallflower the rest of the night. Because I saw these more powerful, more easygoing networking people having these conversations, you know, acting like they're best of friends, doing all that. And I felt out of place. And I didn't know how to break into that. Now again, some of you were very good at that, and that's great. For those of you who aren't, amazing. But for me, I just kind of like, you know what, networking isn't my thing. I'm going to find another way to do it. Well, as I mentioned, that does not work. So one day, a gentleman reached out to me on LinkedIn, a guy named Daryl Whitaker, great guy. He was in my local area, as it turns out, really close to where I live. But he wanted to do a Zoom one-on-one call just to get to know each other. It was a great call. I really enjoyed talking with him, had a great conversation. And then he started asking me if I was aware of these different networking groups. And I explained, just not really my thing, whatever. But a lot of these were virtual. And of course, a lot of these networking groups added strong virtual components, you know, back during COVID, right? So he convinced me to try one, and I did. And it was nice, but it just wasn't really the right feel for me. But he introduced me to other people with other networking and other organizations that kind of did fit. One of the first organizations that I got introduced to was the H7 network. And what I liked about that was I got on there, and yeah, I was a little intimidated the first meeting or so, but they were very welcoming. They were very open. They had a structure in their meetings, but it wasn't extremely rigid. It wasn't like I had to know this whole rule book of what to say and what not to say. They explained things along the way. They were very welcoming to new people. And immediately following those meetings, I had a half dozen or more people reach out to want to connect with me on LinkedIn and do one-on-one calls to get to know me. Suddenly overnight, I went from someone who didn't want to network to someone that was having all these calls and meeting all these people and growing my LinkedIn network to the point where I realized, ooh, I really need to be writing this stuff down. So I found a way to track my CRMs, keep the notes, and do all that so that I'm building a database that I can lean upon in the future. And some of these meetings, some of these groups that I'm involved with, I really have gotten close to. I meet with them on a regular basis. I really have a good understanding of the people. And they'll reach out to me. They'll introduce me to people they think I'd be a good fit with. Likewise, I'll do the same should I come across ones that I think would be a good fit for them. I've had some of them pass along articles or information that maybe I missed that's relevant to what I do. How's that for having your back? All of that from just jumping in and trying the networking. So, okay, what do you say? All right, virtual sounds great, and I'll try it, but maybe you don't like virtual. Maybe you really are in person. So where do you look for networking groups? Well, first off, you can always Google it, right? Every area has a couple of different networking organizations that are in your area. It can be as simple as a Chamber of Commerce. It can be more of a national organization with a local chapter. See where the business people in your area are meeting and just try it. If they've got open meetings that you can go to, just do it. One of the organizations in my area was a co-working space, but they would put on events periodically, and I would go to them. Now, as I said, in-person networking wasn't really my deal. I wasn't comfortable with that. But I think now that I've done some of this virtual networking, I want to do that again. I want to go in person and feel more comfortable because I've shared my elevator pitch with people. I understand now it's more about building that relationship, right? We're not there to sell each other. We're there to get to know each other, to share information. That's kind of what I've said with this whole SoloProneur Spirit podcast. I want to get to know you. I'd love to do one-on-ones with you, get to know you personally and know what you're doing, and for you to know me as well. But also so we can share ideas, share stories, share things that have worked for all of us. That's an important component of networking. You can also look for online special interest groups. So if you're working in a particular genre, let's say you're a videographer, find other videographer groups to hang out in them, talk with them. I know They're not going to be your clients because they're other videographers. But getting to know them could help you because maybe they get too many jobs suddenly or double booked, but they got to know you and say, you know what? I know a guy that can handle it for you. I can't personally do it for you this weekend, but this group over here, this company, they can. That's where you start seeing the power of networking. The more people that are out there that like you and know what you do and are comfortable with you and know that you're not going to just take someone they recommend you to and screw them over. Because that's important. I mean, how horrible would that be if you had somebody that liked you, that trusted you, and you couldn't do something for them, and you recommended and hooked them up with another company, said these people are great, and then they got burned by that company. That's the things that we do in networking. We flesh it out. We get to know people and know what to expect. So that's my challenge to you. If you're not networking, get out there and do it. If you are, feel free to expand your horizons a bit. If you're doing strictly virtual, find an in-person meeting. Try it. See what it's like. Depending on your industry, it's good to have a lot of local contacts, that's the word. Or you may need to have more national and more broadband. But get out there and do it. Networking is the key. Now, I know the marketing and advertising folks are going to say, well, networking isn't all the end all and be all, and that's true. But networking is a major component of building your business. That's all for this episode of SoloProneur Spirit. Again, wherever you found it, get on there, share back with me your feedback on this episode, and let me know your networking stories and how successful it's been for you. Hey guys, have a great day.